Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. My name's Cody and I'm going to talk about the Warcraft movie today, which this is going to contain probably a few spoilers, so if you're interested in seeing the whole thing blind, I guess hold off on this review. But if you're a Warcraft fan, this isn't going to be a surprise to you because, well, the whole point of the movie is that it's adapting Warcraft, so you're probably going to be familiar with the basics of what happens in it. They've made a few adjustments for the purposes of knocking it down into a 2-hour movie without having to explain a bunch of people's backstories and all that kind of thing. But for the most part, it is set in the plot of basically Warcraft 1. This is a movie that normally I wouldn't go and see. Normally I would look at the reviews and I'd go, oh, like 17% of reviewers rated this as good. Maybe I shouldn't see it, but Warcraft's something sort of special to me in that World of Warcraft, I've been playing it on and off, as in I get subscribed for a couple months and then I get bored and then I come back and subscribe for a couple months, and I've been doing that for the last 12 years or so since the game came out. And yeah, so this was something that I just had to see, and look, I think it's worth it. I think if you're a Warcraft fan already, this is worth it. That's probably what I have to put as a disclaimer on this, because I can understand why people who don't understand the lore wouldn't be as invested in this film. It's because if you don't already know who the characters are and this kind of thing, it can be hard to keep track of the array of bearded men holding swords and orcs, and you know, like, I was able to keep track of the whole thing because I already knew who the characters were, but they don't actually explain motivations in that way. I already came in knowing, oh, so this person's doing this for this reason, but they don't really go into it, so the characters just seem like they're doing things a bit out of nowhere for people who would just come in expecting something like Lord of the Rings, where it's all explained to them, you know, from the start, what everyone's motivations are, what's going on. This is more of a movie, I think, for people who are already fans. But for people who are already fans, I think it does a decent job. I think it covers the material that, you know, that you'd want to be covered about the first Warcraft stuff. It covers Medivh and, you know, and Gul'dan and the opening of the portal and everything. Probably my main complaint, I guess, is that it's maybe a bit too accurate to the original Warcraft game in that there's not much variety. What I've come to expect from Warcraft is that there's a colourful cast of characters. You know, you're going to have a warrior and a paladin and a hunter who's coming along with a pet, and, you know, there's a dwarf with a gun and all of this kind of stuff. But it seemed like there was a bunch of warriors on one side and a bunch of orc warriors on the other side, and there were like 2 mages on the Alliance side and like a warlock on the Horde side, and that's, you know, that made it seem a bit generic fantasy to me. I feel like I think it could have done with a more exciting cast of varied characters, just because it seems like it was yeah, as I said, you know, just lots of interchangeable bearded men with swords and that kind of thing. But I think that it executed the plot pretty well. I'd give this like it's a solid like 6.5 out of 10, which I realize is, in reviewing terms, that people are used to. A 7 is where reviews start and then it goes up to 10. But this is actually for a 0 to 10 scale. Like, it's above, you know, it's above the worth watching threshold, I think. But it's just, you know, and it's fun for people who understand the references. It's just, you know, fun for World of Warcraft fans. But yeah, I felt like for the average viewer who is coming in not knowing Warcraft, I don't think they explained it, you know, the character motivations and that sort of stuff well enough. So they came off seeming a bit more generic than the characters really were. And that was a bit of a shame. But yeah, it was a solid movie. I think they might be doing a sequel because they left it pretty open. I mean, they have to leave it open because we all know how the plot of Warcraft goes. It doesn't end after Warcraft 1. But, you know, it seemed particularly open. So, yeah, let me know your thoughts on the Warcraft movie. And I will see you again tomorrow.